All right, good stuff. Thanks, Aaron. 6:15 is the time. Well, we've celebrated many holidays since the COVID-19 outbreak, but this Sunday will be the first Valentine's Day since social distancing began. Keandra Jackson, licensed marriage and family therapist, joins us this morning to talk about setting realistic expectations. Keandra, thanks so much for waking up early with us and providing your time.
I love being here with you. Thanks for inviting me again.
Absolutely. We love having you. Well, look, Valentine's Day is one of those days that can bring up a whole range of emotions. So let's start with best practices for folks who are in a relationship. This year is obviously very different. So what are you recommending to the couples out there?
Absolutely. This year is so different. But the first thing I want to encourage people to do is enjoy your partner. You know, this pandemic has taught us so many things, and it's really that we should cherish one another because life is short. So make sure that you are showing your partner all the love, all the appreciation, so you can let them know that, you know what, you are rocking and rolling with them and you wouldn't rather be with anyone else. Yeah. The second thing I would encourage people to do is pose this question to their partner. This is one of my favorite questions that I give to my couples. And it says, how can I love you better today? Right? The things that we do, how we show up, our wants, needs, desires, those change daily. And sometimes we have to make sure that we're tapping into what our partner needs and not make those assumptions. And then the third thing is to soak it all in, right? Valentine's Day is all about the love. And I know we oftentimes have this idea of just moving on to the next thing, but I want to encourage people to just receive it. Just soak it all in. Get all the love, all the gifts, all the good energy, all the good vibes. Just let it soak in and allow yourself to feel loved, appreciated. And that way you can feel seen and heard by your partner.
That is great advice. All right, well, let's talk about those who find themselves single this year. What are some tips you have for people to avoid getting sucked into sometimes those negative feelings that we might experience?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of us that are still single out there. You know, everyone isn't like you know, all engaged and just in lovey-dovey mode, right? But I would encourage people to have a Galentine's Day with a G, not a V, Galentine. So that means hang out with your girlfriends, with your guy friends, just really enjoy one another. And it doesn't have to be in a romantic setting, but it truly can be just having some dinner, having a glass of wine virtually, and just hanging with your girlfriends.
Love that.
The next thing, yeah, that's fun, right? Like that's incorporating some fun into Valentine's Day. The next thing would be to just remind yourself of the perks of being single. I notice that we forget about this because we desire to be in a long-term relationship at times. But think about, you know, how you can get up and go whenever you want. You don't have to worry about kids or checking in with each other. And there's some perks to being single. And so oftentimes we forget about those. So remind yourself of this season of singleness and how it's about working on yourself in order for you to make sure that you are going to have a successful relationship long-term when that does come to you. And last but not least, treat yourself. Like treat yourself. You do not have to wait for anyone else to buy you roses or candies. You can do that for yourself. If there's a gift that you've been wanting to get yourself, buy it for yourself. Send it to yourself. And that will make you feel loved and appreciated. And that is also a form of self-love that we can't forget about.
Amen. All right. So what role is the pandemic playing on couples you work with? We want to switch things to a more optimistic view. So do you see any positive aspects as a result of this pandemic with the couples that you see?
Yeah, we can talk about the negative all day, right? But there are some really great positives that I'm seeing. I think that couples are spending more quality time together, even though some of it is forced quality time, but they're finding more meaning spending time with one another and being in each other's presence. They are also learning one another all over again. So as I talked about earlier, wants, needs, desires, hobbies, goals, all of those things change. And you have to make sure that you're staying up to date with your partner on what that looks like for them. So they're starting to learn the ins and outs of each other again. And I'm not sure if there's any young people listening, but sexual intimacy is changing. And people are reporting to me that they are having more sexual intercourse and they're enjoying that part of their relationship as well.
Well, hey, Keandra Jackson, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. We understand that recently you came out with a new book, Hard Worker Harmony. So if folks want to get a hand on that book that we actually have right here on the screen, or maybe get in touch with you for some relationship advice, how would they do that?
Yes, they can go and check out my new book. It is doing great. at hardworkorharmony.com. They can go to www.hardworkorharmony.com.
All right. It is such a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much once again for providing your time and insight on how we can all learn to have better relationships in our lives.
Absolutely.
Chandra Jackson, thank you so much
for having me.
All right. You take care now. 6:20 is